Hi everyone, it's Niamh here and welcome to my art journaling channel. So this is a page in my 6x6 Dina Wakley journal, and it's a sample journal I did for Bev's Crosscraft. So a lot of the materials I'm using you'll find in Bev's Crosscraft and it's an online store, so you can go there and find it out. If you're lucky enough to live close, you can actually go and see this journal in person. So I'm just starting out in this 6x6 journal by using some stencils. So this is a Prima stencil and some Dina Wakley paints in tangerine, magenta and lemon. I'm using a makeup sponge from my $2 shop just to sponge in the background. Now the trick to sponging through stencils is to use barely any paint to sponge over it. The bonus with doing this page is because I am working on an ungessoed surface, so it doesn't have anything on the page, it's just the plain paper. It soaks into the paper really quickly and it dries really quickly, so you don't need to worry about any drying time and you can layer over things really easily. So this is a Scrap FX stencil using the magenta, and you can see I'm sort of overlaying. So with this journal page, this was inspired by some happy mail that was sent to me by Courtney, who's Scrappy Chick 7337, I think, on Instagram. Please, if you're on Instagram, go check her stuff out. She does amazing stuff. But I love her colour combination. She works really, really well, and she also uses a lot of white space in her artwork, which is something I really struggle with. But you can see just from that page alone, having those bits of white with those strong colours really helps the page go together. So once I've done the stenciling in the background, I'm just covering the entire page with gel medium, and I'm going to stick down this Botanicals tissue paper from Tim Holtz's Ideology, and just one strip straight across it. Now it's 6x6, it's perfect for this page, and it just goes straight over the top. This honestly is a really, really quick journal page to do, and so much fun. While I've sped this up slightly, it took about 10 minutes to do, which is a record for art journaling pages, I think. When Courtney did this for me, she did it on a tag. It would be beautiful as a front for a card. So there's lots of possibilities with this technique, and it's just so easy to do. And if you don't have acrylic paint, you could certainly do your stenciling in the background with your distress inks or your distress oxide sprays, anything you've got that will put colour in the background. So all I'm doing now is just going in with my heat gun to dry the tissue paper, and again it dries really, really quickly. Because I'm me, I really struggle with all that white space. Even though I've now added black over the top, I still wanted to do something to it. So I decided I needed to add some more stenciling over the top just to add that colour. Now the tangerine and pink were really, really vibrant before I put the tissue paper on. They're still quite vibrant, but I just wanted to add some of that extra brightness to the page. So just by putting a tiny bit of the paint over the top, it sort of revigorates those colours from the background and ties it all together and makes the tissue paper almost disappear. You sort of wonder what came first, the stenciling or the tissue paper. If you forgot to do the stenciling in the background and just glue the tissue paper down, you could certainly do this over the top. It's not going to change anything. By putting the stenciling on the way that we're doing it with minimum paint on it, it's not as opaque, therefore you can still see through what you're doing. So I'm just finishing off and putting on a little bit of the pink as well. So just choosing little bits of my stencil. You can see I'm not using all my stencil, and I'm just choosing where it's going on my page. The makeup sponges that I'm using are from my cheap $2 shop as well, so don't avoid those when you're going looking for art supplies, because you can find some bargains around. So once I finished drying that, I decided I wanted to add some colour to my flowers. So I'm just going in with this Amsterdam neon paint and some of the lemon yellow from Dina Wakley, and I think that's the orange from the Amsterdam paint as well, and just using my fingers to spread it out. Now fluorescent paints by their nature are very, very translucent, so they're not opaque at all, and I'm basically just using them as a tint. So I'm rubbing them on where I want them to go, not being particularly careful if I stay within the lines or not. And then I'm using wet wipe to wipe it back off again to get that black line, but I've still got that stain of where I've put the paint. You can certainly use a paintbrush to do this, but I just like getting my fingers dirty, as you can probably see from many of my videos in the past. If I can get my fingers in there and paint, that's what I tend to do. I just find I've got a little bit more control over what I'm doing, and usually my paintbrushes are dirty or my water's dirty, so you know, if I've got a wet wipe, my fingers are usually clean. So once I've dried that down, this is basically the page completed. So I'm just going through a little box that I have with some chipboard sayings in it from Tim Holtz's Ideology. Now, I did want to keep this journal fairly bulk free. So what you saw me do there is actually just peel off the front off the chipboard backing, and I'm just going to glue that down. I haven't thrown out the back because I can use that in the future for something, I'm sure. So I do hoard bits and pieces like that. And I'm just using some PVA glue to glue that down on my page. The final thing I do on this page is get out my food ball pen and do a scribbly border around the edges. And I'm so glad I did that because it really tied the page together. Again, you could look at those pages separately and they'd be two fabulous card fronts. So, you know, be really creative when you're looking at art journal videos or any videos you've got and think, how can I incorporate this into what I love to do, whether it be card making or scrapbooking or art journaling. How can I change it to work with what I'm doing? And you know, you can be surprised with what you've come up with. So I hope you have a go at doing this technique. It was lots and lots of fun, and until next time, bye for now.